tripped there. Hi, there's a lot of you. Okay. So yes, hi there. My name is Kate, and a little bit about me. Last year I attended a coding boot camp here in London called Founders and Coders. And now I work as a junior engineer at the Financial Times in internal product, where we build tools to help our colleagues across the FT work smarter and better serve our customers. And I have two beautiful guinea pigs named Mopsa and Phoebe. So today I want to share an idea with you in the 10 minutes we have. You might not agree with all of it or any of it, but I love conferences like this because you get introduced to so many new things, and you can either take them home and act on them the next day, or you might mull over some things a bit longer. And the idea I want to share today for you to mull over is 10% time. And it's not a new idea. Companies like Google and Atlassian offer some percent time for their employees to work on side projects. But I want to talk about some interesting concepts related to 10% time, and offer some observations as a new developer with fresh eyes on the field, and a little bit about my experience during the last few months at the FT. So when I joined the Financial Times and I was introduced to the concept of 10% time, it was an unexpected perk. I asked Laura Carvajal, the principal engineer in internal product, what she thought was the best way to describe it, and she came up with 10% time is the way for people to learn something that will help them grow and develop in a way that inspires them and in the way that they want to learn it. It means that you can, for example, work on side projects for a few hours a week, even ones unrelated to your team or the FT at all, as long as it's with the purpose of career development. And I love that this was something that was going to be offered at my job, because a large part of how I learned to program up until that point had been making fun and silly side projects, both before and while I was going through Founders and Coders. But another thing was, despite being quite new to the dev community, what I'd noticed is that it seemed to be the people who worked on side projects and did community work and things like that in their extra time that progressed faster. And looking around, it seems that working past your normal hours to increase your knowledge, or hack on things that you want to because you don't have time at your job, or simply because you're passionate about what you do, is common. I think we can all recognize that side projects, big or small, contributing to open source, planning meetups, giving conference talks, or even just studying all the programming material you can get your hands on outside of work, are all ways to grow your career faster and accelerate your learning, especially for new developers. But unfortunately, this overload, while great if you can do it and sustain it, is also the kind of thing that can lead to burnout. And more than that, not everyone is able to devote this time outside of work to furthering their skills. For example, people may have caring responsibilities, whether for children, parents, partners, or other dependents. They might have mental or physical conditions like depression, anxiety, or other things that make it difficult to find energy outside of work, or sometimes much less at all, to do things. And there's any number of things that people might be dealing with that could prevent them from devoting their free time to learning. And I think this kind of learning and progression outside of work favors people who are overrepresented in tech, people who are younger, neurotypical, able-bodied people with no caring responsibilities who can spend long hours working on side hustles or other career development. And we tend to glorify that. But even if we were all that person, and we could all do that, why? We should just also be okay with people not working long extra hours. We should encourage people to have non-tech hobbies, spend time with family or friends or yourself, knitting, playing games, swing dancing, whatever, having lives outside of our careers. So this is another reason why I love the idea of 10% time or any percent time, because I think it can help level the playing field a bit by offering everyone this extra time to pursue the kind of learning and development that can really help further your career without asking that people spend time outside of work to do so. But even beyond this, there's more reasons that 10% time is a great idea. It has to do with motivation and how we're driven to do our most engaged, creative, and inspired learning. Drive by Daniel Pink, which I think has already been mentioned today, encourages us to reconsider how we think about motivation, to move away from the idea of a stick and carrot, reward-driven, externally controlled motivation, and towards an idea of intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation means that we engage in a behavior because it's satisfying to us, not because of external pressure from risk or reward. It's the idea that left to our own devices, without the stick and carrot to drive us, we won't settle into a state of inertia, but through self-direction, seek out the things that are their own reward, like learning things we're really interested in, or building a project that gets us into that joyful flow state, things like that. So Pink names autonomy, mastery, and purpose as the ingredients of this kind of genuine motivation. And he talks about how we can learn to nurture this kind of motivation in supportive environments and perform and progress better in the long run. A particular interest is the autonomy part of this, not only because it's clear that offering people 10% time is giving them autonomy over self-directed learning and growth, but because Pink also uses Atlassian's 20% time as a case study in this section of the book. And then citing studies on self-determination theory, which talks about our inherent growth tendencies and innate psychological needs that drive motivation, Pink explains that having autonomy over what we do has a powerful effect on individual performance and attitude in all aspects of life, including, of course, work and career. And when we have autonomy to decide what we learn and how we learn, this leads us towards mastery, the desire to get better at something that really matters to us. Where autonomy meets this desire for mastery, we find that we can get to that wonderful stretch where we're learning things that are just past our limits, not too much beyond that we feel frustrated and defeated, but not too little that we don't feel the challenge. Giving people some percent of time to engage in this intrinsically motivated learning and development can improve their satisfaction and creativity, which in turn benefits their actual work. And I wish I could talk longer about this, and I'd encourage you to check out Drive and more on intrinsic motivation and self-determination theory. But now I want to touch on what coworkers and I have done at the FT, and through that give some food for thought for how you might try 10% time at your company. So the first week I joined the FT, I also joined something called Junior Squad. Junior Squad was a new initiative put together by my colleague Katie Koshland, who was a junior at the time. And because she and Laura, the principal engineer, had noticed that juniors weren't using their 10% time. Juniors didn't feel able to take time away from their day-to-day role, or when they did, it was difficult to know what skills to focus on. When you're new to development, there's so much to learn. Where do you even start? So this was created to empower juniors to take advantage of that time by giving us a regular session to meet up in and some guidance. For my first week, I had a group of other juniors ready to work with and support each other, and we built and delivered an internal tool from scratch, and we were able to fully decide on the architecture, the plan, what features it had, when we delivered it, the kind of ground-up decision-making that juniors don't really get to make usually. And now, there are 2 junior squads with developers of all levels working together on side projects to further their learning and support each other. But it's not just building side projects. One coworker, Mel, who you saw on the junior squad slide, wanted to change from another role in internal product to programming, and she used her 10% time to learn and prepare for her application to Makers Academy, which the FT partners with to offer employees the chance to switch careers into development. And she's on the course now, and will be rejoining us officially as a dev in July. We have people who contribute to open source in their 10% time, or even take internal tools built during 10% time and release them for general use, like my colleague Ash, who released fastcharts.io, a tool for people to easily wrangle their data into helpful visualizations. We use 10% time for planning and practicing talks, writing blog posts to share knowledge, or helping organize meetups we take part in. And as of this past month, a group of us are planning a conference where we hope to support and feature a lineup of first-time speakers only. So it's nice to see all the different forms that people's drive for learning and development take, and it's wonderful to know that we're supported by our company and our coworkers in doing this. So, advice I can give for you if you want to consider 10% time. Provide structure, especially when you're starting out. It might seem counterintuitive after all this talk of autonomy, but they're not mutually exclusive. Structure means providing a scaffolding for people to operate within when transitioning to something like 10% time. Suddenly being offered the freedom to do anything with this time can freeze you with too many options, kind of like the problem we had before Junior Squad. So offering groups like our Junior Squad can help direct people's focus starting out, and from there they can slowly find their way towards other kinds of learning that really work for them if needed. And communication, as with most things, is key. If you're a manager, bring it up with your reports and have a genuine interest in what they're pursuing in their 10% time. Share what you're doing as well. You can have people share it at all hands or in weekly update emails if your company does these things as well. And then just let people do what they're inspired to do. What I hope your takeaway is that when you empower people to pursue their development in a way that they find inspiring and fulfilling, everyone will benefit. So give people trust and give people permission to do this, and then give people room to learn and grow by doing what they know they need, and let them surprise you with where they go when you give them that chance. So I hope I've given you a little bit to think about today. Thank you for listening.